Question number 6, Pauline McNeill.
To ask the First Minister what resources the Scottish Government will be providing to Police Scotland for the investigation of complaints made under the Hate Crime and Public Order Act 2021.
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, we have worked with justice partners, including, of course, Police Scotland, to ensure the Act is effectively implemented when it commences next month. The Scottish Police Authority's budget for 24-25 delivers record police funding of £1.55 billion. It's an increase of £92.7 million when compared to the current financial year. It is for the SPA and the Chief Constable to allocate this budget according to their priorities and their needs, and that should absolutely include the investigation of complaints that are made under the Hate Crime Act. I'm aware that some commentary in the Act, as I've already said, is not really reflective or indeed accurate of the measures in the Act, which was passed by a majority of this Parliament. The Act does not stop freedom of expression, however, it does make unlawful the intention of stirring up hatred against a person or community for particular characteristics, as the law already does for race.
Pauline McNeill.
The First Minister has reiterated several times today that the Hate Crime Act, which comes into force on the 1st of April, must deliver what Parliament intended, that people must not be criminalised for expressing their opinions, and I agree. Some organisations are still concerned this legislation will be used maliciously to silence legitimate opinion, and it would be helpful, First Minister, if the Scottish Government would engage with those groups. So does the First Minister agree that how the Act is interpreted by the police is key and how they are trained is key, and that resources are crucially important? So does the First Minister understand my concerns that the police are not properly resourced, but crucially, properly and adequately trained to implement the Act as it was intended? And we agree on this, that it could risk criminalising innocent people and further stretching police resources. Make this Act work and make sure that there is full resources to ensure that what this Parliament intended is delivered.
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, can I say that I know Pauline McNeill takes the issue of tackling hatred very, very seriously. It's something she and I have worked on over the years in many different guises. Let me try to give some assurance to Pauline McNeill and those those she is raising concerns on behalf of. First of all, I make the point that I made already to Douglas Ross, that there are multiple freedom of expression safeguards within the law. There is explicitly a freedom of expression safeguard within the legislation. There is, of course, the reasonable person defence. But there is also, of course, the fact that the legislation has to apply with the European Convention of Human Rights, and Article 10 being particularly important. So there's a triple lock of safeguards that are already there. In terms of how the police then enforce the Act, let me again try to give Pauline McNeill some assurances. Police officers since 1986, virtually my whole life, have been, I think, effectively policing and enforcing the law and stirring up of hatred for crimes in relation to race. Now, the threshold for the new offences is higher than, of course, the racial stirring up offence. But if they've been doing so since 1986, with virtually zero controversy, I've got every confidence that they're able to do so for the new offences that are being brought into law in just a matter of weeks' time. In terms of resourcing and training, I'll just reiterate the points I've already made. We are providing record funding for Police Scotland in relation to the next year's budget, and in training, again refer to the points that have already been made by Police Scotland in the public domain, and I have every confidence in their ability to train officers for this Act when it comes into force. And I'm very pleased this Act will be coming into force, because I believe it will give people the necessary protections at a time when we're seeing hate crime far too pervasive in our society, far too prominent in our society, and being peddled by some with impunity.
Thank you, First Minister.